Hello and welcome to What the Hey, where I'm your regular host of What the Hey, and today on What the Hey, I am once again answering yet another question. When I go to my notebook of knowledge, I see the question of what the hey is Bonanza? Now this question was asked by Abrasious Productions, so hello to you and thank you very much for the question. In terms of a very basic description, Bonanza was an old Western television series that focused on four members of the Cartwright family who operated on their ranch and interacted with those around them. When speaking of one of the main people behind Bonanza, David Dortort was super smart about all of his choices because he not only decided the plot and how the show would be ran, he also decided on how to make the location really beneficial to the show, as well as he decided to pick a lot of actors that were extremely unfamiliar and new to the television scene, so he had a lot to do behind the show. When discussing the official release date for Bonanza, that was September 12th of 1959, and it ran until January 16th of 1973. And through that, they were able to release 14 seasons with around 431 episodes that typically ran for about 49 minutes. So if you need a series that you can just sit down and watch for forever, probably Bonanza is a good choice. Now for this next section of the video, I'm going to go into a few different things, the setting, the basic plot synopsis, as well as some of the characters. Now I briefly mentioned earlier that Bonanza is a Western genre television series, and that's pretty evident through the setting itself because all of it takes place in Nevada. Specifically, according to the show, it takes place on Ponderosa, which is the Cartwrights' ranch. And it's so cool because when you watch the show, the setting definitely adds to the atmosphere of the show. The choice in landscape and the colors of everything just makes it look so cool. When discussing the basic plot synopsis for Bonanza, overall it was a Western TV show that followed the daily lives of the Cartwright family on their ranch. So of course you have the common and stereotypical Western themes of gunslingers, cowboys, and just Western living, but Bonanza also did feature some topics that other TV shows hadn't really covered at the time. Specifically, you had topics discussed that were environmental issues, abuse, whether that was substance abuse or domestic abuse, there was loss, and then there was definitely racism and bigotry focused on and discussed throughout the series. And of course today, I feel like it's way easier to find series, whether that be shows, movies, books, whatever, that delve into those kind of topics. But for back then, it was kind of surprising because with most Western shows, it was, cowboys, riding in the West, I don't know, fighting over women. That's what a lot of it was about. So this was pretty cool to see. Now, when detailing the main characters of the show, I've mentioned the family's name quite a few times already, but the Cartwright family are the ones who the show mainly focuses on. But essentially you have Ben, Adam, Haas, and Joseph, who all have different personalities, but they work together to operate their ranch and just interact with the people they live around. But the show is pretty much just about them. But of course you have the occasional other characters like Sheriff Roy Coffey, you have Hop Sing, as well as Dusty Rhodes, other people that add to the plot of the show. However, a majority of it is about the Cartwright family. So overall, that's the basic plot, the characters, and then just kind of the background information on it. But I did want to discuss the reception section of the show because that's kind of interesting. The very beginning of the show's release was a little tough reception-wise because the show was competing with other time slots that more famous and recognizable shows were going on. So the first season might have been the only one because ratings and all that were kind of low, but eventually they did switch it up and it got more ratings later. So once the situation of when the show would actually be aired was fixed and all that started to become positive, the reception for the show was mostly positive. And although this may not seem like something that would impact a show so much now, the show was run in color, which was super impressive for the time. The people behind the show decided we're gonna air and run the show on color, producing TVs, and people are that's crazy. And one of the biggest claims that the Bonanza series can make is that it's one of the longest running live action series out there, which is pretty impressive. I mean, at least to me, that makes sense because it's 14 seasons. And I'm always someone who's intimidated by numbers like that, so I see why that claim's very legit. If you're someone who's already watched Bonanza and you need something more than just that television series, there are a few revivals, there's some television movies, there's a prequel, which is titled Ponderosa, which is kind of cool because that's the name of their ranch. And of course, there's a bunch of merch. You got books, comics, figurines, plates, cups, bowls, what have you, as well as actual legit, like, Bonanza themed steakhouses, which is a little crazy. But in terms of my general opinion, I like the whole idea of Bonanza. I like the characters. I like the setting. I especially love the theme song, like the iconic map being burned. That's so cool. Do I think that I'll ever watch the entirety of Bonanza? No, probably not, because I'm trying to get through other series right now, like Knight Rider, which is taking me forever, but I love it. However, I have been watching some Western media recently. I watched the film The Man Who Shot Liberty Valance, which is super good, and I had to watch the miniseries Lonesome Dove, and that was pretty cool. So I absolutely have an appreciation for Western television series like Little House on the Prairie, which actually one of the actors for Bonanza was on, and I had no idea that was the case, so that's cool. But that's essentially the answer to the question, so if you have any questions, let me know, and I'll get to working on them as soon as I can. I do have a Wix website where you can see the discussion topics that I'll be going over through the rest of the year, so feel free to check that out, but that's essentially it. So thank you very much for watching. Bye.